One of our favorite pastimes as fans of sports is to discuss the GOATs, the great GOAT debate. LeBron or Jordan, Tom Brady or who knows, right? It's one of our favorite pastimes. It's the greatest barbershop talk conversation ever that can literally turn friends to enemies. But you know what else is a great debate that I like to discuss? The GOAT of wrestling. And I'm really been thinking about this. Shout out to my guy JJ for, providing me, with insight on, even discussing this topic because he brought up some really, really good points. And I wanted to, discuss it with you guys, and we will discuss on stream one day as well because I think this conversation is more intricate than people really want to give credit to. But I really want to discuss it. Like, how can you narrow down who is the GOAT of a sport that's predetermined? Like, how do you narrow down? How can you factually decide who's the GOAT of WWE or just wrestling, period? You can't. It's impossible. And it's not a bad thing. I think this is one of the things that makes wrestling so unique to everything because it's a predetermined sport, but it's not fake, which is probably why, I'm gonna put a little spice on the title. It's not fake. And anyone who says it's fake, tell that to the family of Owen Hart. Tell that to Mick Foley getting his ear off. Tell that to Stone Cold, Edge, people breaking their necks and backs throughout their whole entire life. Some people can't even walk anymore and got to take pills and stuff like that in order to just function. Tell that to those people that this sport is fake. But with that being said, basketball, you at least have a criteria. LeBron has the most points. LeBron has 4 championships. Jordan has 6 championships, never lost, has a certain amount of all-stars. Kobe has 5 championships, but Russell got 11. There are ways that you can narrow it down to like a specific group of people, but in wrestling, you cannot do that. And let me tell you why. Because I brought this up. I sent my guy JJ. No, he sent me something where it was showing how many matches like people have participated in throughout their entire life, and The Miz was top 4 for a number of matches. And he like, bro, I didn't even know he was around that long. He has almost the same amount of matches as John Cena, and John Cena was out before him. And I'm like, yeah, that's true, but he also got the record for like losing like a lot of number of matches. And not only that, he's a two-time Grand Slam champion. I'm gonna say it again. He's a two-time Grand Slam champion. Not only is he a two-time Grand Slam, he's the only person to do that. So that made me think about this. That you know what I'm saying, and that's what me and my guy was talking about in the Instagram DM. How can there be a GOAT of wrestling? Because is that not the GOAT? How can you say that Stone Cold, The Rock? Oh, no one else, John Cena, no one else has been Grand Slam twice before. So is Miz not the GOAT? I'll do you one better. How about some of these GOATs, some of these greats have never been Grand Slam. But Sheamus is damn near right close to being a Grand Slam, but you can't, is Sheamus not the GOAT? But wrestling, fans don't do that. What fans do in wrestling is they'll do this, right? It's about favoritism. It's about who their favorite. There's no objectivity in wrestling to say who's the GOAT, which is why I don't believe you can have a GOAT conversation in wrestling, a serious one. We can still do it, but who are the usual suspects? The Rock, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan. And then you're starting to get into the John Cena, Undertaker territory. But how about this? How about Edge? Edge is also a Grand Slam. So why is Edge not on The Rock, Stone Cold, blah blah? Well, they do better promos. Is that it? See, like that's what I'm saying with this wrestling stuff. And it's like I said, it's hard to judge off of accolades as well because they're predetermined. But not only that, The Miz is a two-time Grand Slam and he's competed in so many matches, but he has like a high number amount of losses. So does that hurt him as well? Like the GOAT conversation is always going to come down to opinion that there's no way possible. You can't tell me that. And let's go to the women. Look at Liv Morgan's accomplishments over the last few years. Look at Bianca Belair's accomplishments over the last few years. Look at Rhea Ripley's accomplishments over the last few years. How can y'all say that Trish, Lita, Alundra Blaze is better than some people who've had belts Liv Morgan's had what, the most tag team championships with Raquel. Um, a women's former women's world champion, Smackdown women's champion. Bianca Belair has the longest, like, well, it was it not the longest, but 400 days as women's champion. How's Bianca Belair not the GOAT already? I don't think Trish Stratus has ever done nothing like that. I don't think Lita has ever done nothing close to that. Like the GOAT conversation, I think we're not using our own opinion. So when someone comes up to me and say that they think that Sami Zayn is one of the GOATs, I can't argue that because all I could say is that he hasn't been a world champion yet. But at the end of the day, you can't really argue against that. Because if Sami Zayn is not that caliber, does that mean Finn Balor is just because he was Universal Champion? Because their career is kind of neck and neck as far as accomplishments. And then we can't do that as well if we want to talk about skill set. If you want to talk about skill set and bag, this guy right here might as well be the GOAT. Rey Mysterio's the GOAT. Some people would say that already, but so is someone the GOAT because they can do flips, or is someone the GOAT because they're 7 feet tall, or is someone the GOAT because they have the best character work? So that means Bray Wyatt and Mick Foley should be the GOATs then. People could say they're great, but I'm talking about we're having the GOAT conversation. How can you say that Mick Foley shouldn't be considered a GOAT if he has all the criteria? He's had good matches. He's had great characters, great promo work. He has accolades. He has championships to back it up as well. So in multiple companies. So how was Mick Foley not the GOAT? How was Kurt Angle not the GOAT? He has everything, all the championships. He had championships in TNA, WWE, right? He's an Olympic gold medalist. He has great character work, great promo work, great matches, great skill. How is Kurt Angle not the GOAT, but The Rock is the GOAT? Because you say The Rock is the GOAT, because The Rock is the GOAT because he has charisma and everyone else says he's the GOAT. I, that is really the main point of this. The conversation of GOAT conversation is starting to get disingenuous in wrestling because we just go with what people think we should go with and what sounds good. We don't want to seem like a mark or not a real fan. But if someone told me Kurt Angle was the GOAT, I cannot disagree. Like, so what separates him from Stone Cold? Because once you put their accolades against one another, and then you put their matches against one another, how is Kurt Angle not better than Stone Cold? It's an opinion-based thing. Hulk Hogan, people will give Hulk Hogan credit for revolutionizing, wrestling, and he saved wrestling. Okay, so how is John Cena not the GOAT? Has John Cena not been on top for that long? How is Bruno Sammartino not the GOAT? He's held the belt for the longest. How is Roman Reigns not the GOAT? You know what I'm saying? It's a disingenuous conversation that I kind of want to stray away from. It's fun, but like it's so many different variables to judge off of. Like I said, real sports, bro, it's very easier to at least narrow it down. And then it's gonna come to the opinion thing as well, because LeBron versus Jordan, this person has more of this person has more of this, but they're still comp. Whereas no one would ever consider The Miz the GOAT of WWE unless they're like a super duper Miz fan. But two-time Grand Slam, the only two-time Grand Slam, you won every title more than once. How at least twice? How are you not the GOAT? How is Edge not the GOAT? Like seriously. And like I said, for the women. People like I understand we're in different eras and stuff like that, which I will get to that as well. Because the women this affects the most for sure. Because it is hard to compare the women of old who didn't have as much championships, who didn't have much opportunities and didn't have much they could work with compared to the women of today. But with that being said, though, are the women of today like most of them not GOAT status? If we're looking at accolades, skill set, um influence everything, Naomi is the GOAT. Naomi has the championships. She has her money in the bank. She had a championship at TNA. She puts on good matches. She has good character work. Has always had good character work. It's not just this year. She's been had good character work, bro. They just let her do it. She's been popular for being on Total Divas as well. So you can't say she had doesn't have influence. So is Naomi not the GOAT if we're gonna go that route? Like seriously, I'm being genuine. I'm so serious. Is Naomi not the GOAT? How how is if people do this by the way, like how can you rank? I'm not trying to be funny or nothing, but I'm just saying like how can you rank Stacy Keibler or Tori Wilson or higher than Naomi? It doesn't make logical sense. And that's another great point I just brought up. The people who don't have world championships, the Sami Zayns, the Tori Wilsons of the world. She never won a title? That's crazy. The Tori Wilsons of the world. You know what I'm saying? Like how do we rank those people? Because they never had a world championship that's predetermined that you can earn, but really it's going to be put on whoever they want to put it. They put it on Jinder Mahal. You know what I'm saying? So they put it on whoever they want. So like, how do you have this conversation? Well, we're gonna narrow it down to these guys. Whoa, 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 whoa. You're gonna narrow it down to these guys, but why can't people from other companies? And this is another thing. Why can't Kenny? If that's the case, Kenny Omega should be the GOAT. It's not just a WWE thing. It's a wrestling thing. Is Kenny Omega not the GOAT? All them titles in New Japan, all them titles in AEW, is he not the GOAT? Ring of Honor, is he not is Seth Rollins not the GOAT? Titles in Ring of Honor, NXT, main roster. How is Seth Rollins not the GOAT? Hmm? All these guys in the old days didn't wrestle in independence, but because we're conditioned to say that The Rock is the GOAT, that Stone Cold is the GOAT, that Hulk Hogan is the GOAT. And I love Shawn Michaels, and he is my number one, but how could Shawn Michaels be the GOAT when the 90s he wasn't even that active? Shawn Michaels hit his second prime coming back, after he got saved. He had, in my opinion, Shawn Michaels in the Ruthless Aggression era had way better matches, but he didn't have the same amount of championships. Even in the 90s, he didn't have that many championships. So how is Shawn Michaels the GOAT? When people talk about Shawn Michaels, they say he the GOAT off of showmanship and performance, but there are other individuals who are showmen and can perform as well. If that's the case, is Ric Flair? Ric Flair is the Bill Russell of wrestling. Is Ric Flair not the GOAT? He got 16 titles. He got more than that, but 16 world championships. So is Ric Flair not the GOAT? But people say the same thing about Bill Russell. How is Bill Russell not the GOAT? He got 11 championships. He played against bums. They say the same thing about Ric Flair. He wrestled against bums. So how do we have this conversation? And if you want to talk about eras and generational things, I think that's a cop out as well. Because like I said, the women is probably the most difficult to do this, but the men have consistently had similar championships throughout the years, right? Booking and longevity is different, but you can't be mad at John Cena because he got 20 years of longevity or Randy Orton because they got longevity. It's not my fault that The Rock and Stone Cold didn't wrestle consistently that long. It's not my fault that Shawn Michaels was, using using, what I'm saying, substances and things of that nature. How is Triple H not the GOAT? Triple H got way more titles than Shawn Michaels. Triple H got what, 13, 14, or 12? Something crazy? How is Triple H not the GOAT? How is Randy Orton not the GOAT? Like, you know what I'm saying? How, we gonna talk about this during stream, bro. For me personally, my criteria of GOAT, and I'm gonna be honest, it's opinion. Because at the end of the day, if it's my favorite wrestler of all time, but I do have Shawn Michaels as the GOAT for many different reasons. But when you compare him to other individuals, it's like, damn, why is Shawn Michaels the GOAT? Shawn Michaels never been two-time Grand Slam. Shawn Michaels hasn't competed in over 2,000 something matches like The Miz. How is The Miz not the GOAT, bro? It's a very difficult conversation, y'all. I really want y'all to think about this, like for real. Like, shout out to my guy JJ bringing this up, man. Like, when he brought this up, I was really like, yo, I really can't come up with a legit reason of saying that The Rock is the GOAT. How? The Rock's career in comparison to even the people in his same era, it doesn't match up. So how is he better than them just because he can do a promo and get cheers? So basically, what is the best? What is the in the comment section? Put this. What is the criteria we need to look for to decide the GOAT? Is it the crowd reaction? Is it the promo? Does t-shirt sales not matter? Does merch not matter? All that is part of sports entertainment. It's not just the sport. Look at the entertainment side as well. Does getting over matter? Does the character matter? What matters? Does something matter the most, or does everything matter? You got to be the most complete wrestler ever. And if that's the case, then The Miz should be considered for the GOAT then. Sold merch, personality, had, even though they wasn't big blockbuster movies, had movies, two-time Grand Slam champion, most matches. So is he not the GOAT? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a conversation we need to have, but y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Wanted to give y'all a video that could really make y'all think about this for real. And I really want to know y'all opinion down in the comment section below. How is Mercedes Moné not the GOAT? She got like 5 belts right now. But anyway, man, thank y'all for the support as always. More videos coming soon. Make sure y'all join the Patreon. Link in the description down below. Got some good bangers coming for y'all. Wrestling related, life related, everything. So peace out.